Hello everybody, this is Gregory with How I Lost Over 100 Pounds and I've kept it off for 30 plus years, where there should be no hesitance in your weight loss and in your weight maintenance. Today we're going to continue this series, Reflections of a Weight Loss Warrior. I'm going to talk about the 3-part series on panic attacks throughout my life. Now before we begin, if you need help with weight loss, especially from the psychological point of view, contact me through the Clarity FM link found here in the episode notes. Also check out my website, Naturopathic Earth. It's got tons of recipes and stuff in it. My podcast, The Awakened Man, and my books. And if you appreciate my content, hit the like button, subscribe, hit the notification button, and post a donation if you'd like to. All right, so I'll put a banner in for the other episode where I talked about my panic attacks. I think it's Confessions of an Obese Child 2, where I talk about how as a fat kid you never want to be in front of the class. And then I talked about it in college when I was up in Alaska for graduate school. So up until this point, it's about 2003. I've been married for about 2 years. I've had my weight off now for about 12 years. And as I talked about in the previous video, this is kind of the invisible years, but I do have like singular events I remember. So I got into the doctoral program over at UT Austin. They have the best colonial Latin American history program. And like when you get to like the PhD, especially in liberal arts, your area of concentration has to be very specific. So my area of concentration was colonial Latin American history, and specifically Northwest Pacific exploration of Alaska by the Spanish explorers. Otherwise, neither here nor there. So it's a big deal. I got in, and my wife got into her doctoral program as well, and I crumbled. I crumbled. See, and I knew this. I knew this better, but I had been working at an immigration company for a couple of years in Houston, and I felt like I want to be a professor. I want to teach college kids. I want to get the doctorate. So to my ex-wife's credit, she was like, "Okay, well, let's do it. You know, that's what your dream is. Let's do it." So we applied to different places, and UT Austin was the best program for my fit. So we went there, but I should have known better because look, I was having panic attacks in the seminar classes at University of Alaska. So why would I think it'd go away going to one of the most prestigious, if not most prestigious, Latin American history programs in the world? And it didn't. So starting with the day one in these seminar classes, I couldn't talk. I mentioned this in Confessions too. It's not like I didn't know the concept, but I didn't know how the game was played. See, the game is you got to read a lot of books in your doctoral classes, and you meet once a week, and it's really just about BSing. And I didn't get that. These other people knew it because they actually went to really good graduate programs around the U.S., and I didn't. And so while I'm in the bowels of the library reading, I have to read like 5 books a week. Reading page by page these books, trying to take notes and everything. These people are just like reading up the reviews, look at the table of contents, and just BSing, just talking about, because in liberal arts history, it's very liberal. So it's all about agency, and the white Spaniards are bad, the Indians are good, and just throw out the BS. But I wasn't good at that at the time, and so in class I was just, and unlike in Alaska where I told some of the professors, please don't call on me. Here I didn't. So they're clearly, after like a couple of weeks, I was shy guy, and they didn't get it because they didn't know I was fat. They didn't know I had panic attacks. They didn't know I had imposter syndrome. I talked about that in a previous episode. They didn't know these things. They just thought like, this guy is weird. He never talks. He's never laughing. He's always looking down, just taking notes, trying to. And after a semester, I wanted to leave. I didn't think I could handle it because it's 2 years of seminars before you get to your comps, and then you have to pass the comps to do your dissertations. The comps I don't think I would have had a problem with because that's just reading books and telling people what you've learned. And then the dissertations, writing a book, and I'm a good writer. If you go over to Naturopathic Earth, I have like hundreds of articles and blogs I've written. But it was the seminar, and I was just so freaked out. And I remember at the time, like after class, just going to the indoor gym, and they had an indoor track. And I would just run as hard as I can because I was so mad at myself for not performing in these classes. And then, no doubt that I ate poorly too, right after I exercised. So I asked one of my professors, I think it was my advisor, I was like, do I belong here? And if you ask that question, the nice thing to say is, of course, you do the honest thing. And they said the honest thing is like, we don't know. Because you had to turn in writings, and my writings were okay. They didn't have a problem with my writings. It's just my speaking. And I made the choice to leave. They weren't going to kick me out. I made the choice to leave. And I left. And it's one of those sliding doors moments in your life. What could have happened? Quoting the Gwyneth Paltrow movie. What could have happened in my life had I stayed there? But I left. We had to stay in Austin because of my wife was in her doctoral program and she was thriving. So, I had to find something else to do for the 3 years that we had to be there. And in general, living in Austin was nice, a little too liberal for my taste. But they have beautiful town lake and the town's nice and there's other things that I did like about it. I was able to go to daily mass, which was nice for me as a Catholic. But I still suffer from that kind of just embarrassment of failure. You reach the pinnacle of what you always wanted to be. My father wanted me to be a doctor. I was like, no, I love history and geography, partly because you imparted it into me, Dad. And then you reach the pinnacle and then it's the lack of confidence. It's not like I didn't have the intellect. I lacked the confidence. And why did I lack the confidence? Because I was a fat kid and I still had the residuals and the hang-ups and the insecurities of a fat kid 12 years after losing my way. And I was not able successfully to purge these demons by that point. And so instead of just reminding myself, look at the way they look at me. They see me as this normal guy. I couldn't get out of my own head, partly because I'm neurotic. I couldn't get out of my own head, and then I quit. And I don't know what my life would be like now. Maybe I would have been all but dissertation for 10 years and been a failure. Maybe I would be a great history professor. I don't know. But I do deal with that, and I do wonder. Guys, post in the comments. Let me know if you can relate. Hit the notification, subscribe, and share button. Until next time, take care, God bless, and pray.